heroes or potheads. So why drink and drive when you can smoke and fly? Peter Tosh said got to legalize. All my heroes are potheads.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Comics on Cannabis, where we discuss everything from cannabis, movies, sports, anything pop culture. It is where entertainment and cannabis meet. I am your host, Ed Cho, and normally we have my co-host, Derek Michael. Unfortunately, he can't be here today. He had a family emergency. Something I think happened to his mom. So we want to keep him and his mom in the best spirits. A lot of prayers and thoughts. If you could throw them his way and his mom's way, that'd mean tons for him and me. She's growing up with them. I've known Derek for over 20 years, and his mom has been a mom to me as well. So I just want to make sure that she's okay and Derek's okay. So please keep them in your thoughts. And he will be back. Today, behind the boards, of course, we have Ming. What's up, Ming?
Ming.
Hello, everybody. Thank you. It's an honor to be here with you guys tonight.
Thank you very much. It's always good having you, Ming. And we have a very special guest next to me here.
Hey.
New Jersey comedian. He's a guy I've performed with a few times. This guy's incredibly funny. We actually worked a show I believe it was Thursday. In Keyport. He was the host, and he always slays. But Mr. Dave Hodge is here. What's up, Dave? Good having you here, dude. What's up, brother?
Hanging in there.
You doing
good
okay?
Seeing you as always.
It's always good seeing you. And last week's show was fun. I mean,
it was a good show.
I had a good time. You know, I actually didn't know you were going to be the host. I thought you were actually going to be the comic.
I thought so as well, but that changed many times. But you know.
Oh, is that true? Is that true? You thought you were not going to be the host?
So Matt Bridgestone ran that show. And
yeah.
He's a great promoter, great producer. And he's like, hey, this is in your area. I should have you on this show. He's like, but I need a host. Do you mind hosting? I'm like, sure, not a problem.
And he just picked up.
And then he goes, hey, I think I'm going to host this one. I'll see you down there. You know, just be prepared to do your set. I'm like, all right, I'm ready. Then he's like, yeah, I need a host. So he went back and forth on that for like a month. So I'm like, just let me know. Either way, I'm going to be there. Just let me know what you need.
But that's what's great about you, man. It's people that aren't stand-up comedians don't know how difficult it is to do both. It's two different art forms. I talked about that on a prior podcast, where to be the host and to be an actual
right.
feature
it's a
different
different skill.
skills.
But
yeah.
if you're able, I started doing a lot more hosting like 2-3 years ago, and that just literally helped me be better with my material on stages. Just, you know, because when you're up there and you're hosting, you're actually relating to the people, trying to suck them in, and you have a better feel of what the people want to hear while you're up there. It's like, oh yeah, and this is working. I get used to this crowd. This is going to work and you know what's going to work in any situation, which helps.
That just takes time, though.
Yeah, that too. But like I noticed that was something that helped me move along, and I didn't do as much crowd work as hosting this time, only because I had a lot of people that came to see me, so I wanted to get more material out. You know, you try to do that.
Yeah.
Be a pro. Do whatever they need you to do.
You were definitely a pro, man. And
that's somebody that Matt also told me this, but somebody else had told me this. He's like, you know, whenever you're up there, be prepared to either go first, last. It doesn't matter. Don't be picky. Just be happy you're on the show. You got booked. Doesn't matter what happens once you're there.
Which is always true.
Yeah, I mean, somebody could drop out. Somebody gets sick. Maybe they need you to headline. Who knows? I'm like, probably not ready for that, but.
Exactly.
Not that I've never closed a show. I'm just saying, like, I'm not, you know. It's one of those old. I'm not a headliner, but okay, I'll do what you need.
Yeah, you're funny enough. I think you got a lot of great stuff. I mean, that's just my opinion.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
It's good. Just good.
I like every other comic. I'm self-conscious about that. I'm like, oh,
we always are, right? You
like,
want that? Yeah,
I guess so.
I hate that too. You're up there, and I was like, that was a shit show. No, that was a great show. But are they other comics and just being like, you were good? But...
Yeah. No, my favorite, especially when it comes from Matt, it's like, so that happened. Well, that just happened, and that's such a Bridgestone thing to say. I'm like, thanks.
It's like, well, thanks, man.
Thanks, Matt.
I'll walk away with my tail between my legs. Yeah,
I guess that was terrible.
I want to talk more about the show and you in general, but I want to get this out there first.
Yes.
A lot of times, obviously, it's Comics on Cannabis. Most people that contact me, say, hey, you know what? Are you ever going to talk about or do anything cannabis-centric? And I always say, I'm just way too high to talk about it, and I forget.
Makes sense.
And then I just kind of go into shooting the shit. So to do the cannabis-centric thing, I guess, we're going to do a segment here where we're going to kick off our podcast with some product reviews.
Sounds like a plan.
Absolutely. Whether they be edibles, tinctures, flower product, just fun stuff that we can, help get the word out on these items. Good stuff. We might love them. We might hate them, but you're going to get an honest review from us, and that's something we just want.
Or
to
a high review.
Very well done. I see what you did there. Well done, you. I applaud you.
Thank you.
See
thank
that? See, great comic right there.
High praise, yes.
So the first product we have here that we're going to start is actually. It's from our friends at Green Room, New Jersey. Shout out to Derek Michael. That's my co-host, but it's also the owner of the Green Room, New Jersey. He's been a good friend ever since we've met, and he sent these over. And this guy just blows up. This store is just amazing. They got a store in Hoboken, Montclair, Jersey City, West Village, and of course my favorite store that they have it at Red Bank. It's on Monmouth Street. But they sent over these D8 Quattros. They are dusted with edible sugar keef. Right. Delta 8. If you guys don't know what Delta 8 is, it's a CBD that's legal. It's not. It doesn't get you as high as THC.
THC light, you said.
It's THC light, but I love it because with my anxiety, sometimes I just don't want to be high.
Okay.
I don't want to be high, and I think Delta 8 just it's the perfect medium where I'm feeling good. I'll feel something, but I'm not stupid high where I can't function.
All right.
So these things are cool because they're D8 Quattros, edible sugar keef on it. They look like rainbows. They look like rainbows.
They look like rainbow cookies.
They look like they're gummies. They're gummies. So
right, I'm saying, but they look like rainbow cookies.
They look. Oh, do they?
Like little mini ones.
You're right because they got
little Italian cookies. Yeah,
they
like
got the sugar on it.
Now you're making me hungry just staring. I'm like, oh yeah.
Oh, you got to try it now here too. Now, when I got these, and I talked to him a lot, he was. I'm pretty sure that you don't just bite into them and chew on them. I think you suck them a little bit.
Okay.
And then they dissolve in your mouth, and then you can chew them. So here's mine. Try one. Yo, Ming. Try one, right?
Yes, sir.
Delta 8.
D8 Quattro.
D8 Quattro, yeah. It tastes all right. There you go. You can taste the sugar. You can taste the sugar on it. You can kind of taste the cannabis in it too.
You can taste the cannabis, and you can feel the granules.
Yeah, you can feel the granules. How they're gonna make us feel, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't think they're really gonna crush you. Ming's going right to town on it. You're just biting them all.
Oh, am I supposed to suck on them?
I think you're supposed to suck on them a little bit and then chew them, but I don't think it makes a difference.
What's keef? Do you know what keef is? Sugar
No.
keef? I have to look that one up.
With sugar keef, yeah. You ever
Okay.
yeah, it's like the remnant. Okay, you ever use a grinder and then on the bottom you have like the sugar keef? It's the white stuff on the bottom of the plant. That's it. Yeah, this is the sugar keef that they throw on it. It tastes pretty good. I mean,
No, I like the taste so far.
it's weird. It's does even it doesn't really have a flavor, does it? Can you guys describe a flavor?
This tastes like candy. It's
Yeah.
good. This is bad. I like. It's like, dude, give me a whole handful of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Have
like
some more if you want, but it's weird. It doesn't have a flavor. Like, you know how you go to Twizzlers and Twizzlers have like a cherry or
it's the Airheads mystery flavor.
it's that's not bad. That's not bad. It's pretty good. I mean, 25 milligrams of Delta 8. I mean, like I said, I guess we'll see how how it'll work. But I mean, if you want to grab some, guys, the Green Room, go to the greenroomnewjersey.com and grab some of this stuff. We're gonna do a lot more other stuff, but I mean, the best I could do is it tastes good. You guys like the taste, right? It tastes like.
Yeah, it's good. And Trevor Iacus says keef is the crystal, so sugar crystal.
It's
sugar
the
keef.
It's the sugar crystal keef.
Yep.
Well, it tastes damn good. Let's see
Yeah.
if we get anything from it. If we don't, in the middle of it, we'll just grab more and and we can
I'm tiny. Sorry.
and we can see if we get anything from it. But thank you from our friends at Green Room.
Yes, thank you, Green Room.
Yes, we'll have other stuff as well. But now back to you, good sir.
Yes.
We were talking before we
Went live.
went live and did a podcast, And one of the things we were talking about, which is so true, how different the the comedy industry has been, and how it's changed, and how when we were younger,
Well, both statements are true. The cannabis has gotten much better.
yeah, you're right. Both is true.
Both are true.
Is true. But here we're gonna focus on the comedy sector of it. It's not better. I might be an old school guy where I just thought comedy was much better in the old days where you hung out.
You turn it into the old man in the room.
I did.
I remember when I was young, we did this.
That's exactly how I feel. But it's the truth. I mean, I don't know anybody like. Who am I to say that in the future, someone that started with stand-up comedy now, oh, it's so much better now than it's going to be in 2035, or but back then, there was a camaraderie, wasn't there? Like you could go to a comedy club, you can meet remember I told you, like,
right.
The manager would just have me out there, I would meet the other comics, then there would be a community, we would go out, and it was just really great. And if somebody broke out or somebody did something big, you would be friends about it.
Right.
I mean, does it even exist anymore? I mean, honestly.
It kind of does. You have, it's splintered. You have more cliques than friends. So, you have your one group of comics that goes to this area and they do stuff literally locally, and one or two people will break out of it. But they're not always as happy as like when we were young. It was like, oh my God, do you see this guy? Yeah. Like Dan Lamort, one of my favorite people.
Right.
I met him through our friend Bridgestone.
Okay.
And he's one of those people who's and he went and he put in the work, and he started hitting the city like 7 nights a week. Sometimes more than one show in a night. Now 5, 6, 7 years later, and he's just out there. He's touring. He's headlining. He's doing all this crazy good things. I can't be more happy for a person.
When did he break out, really? I mean, I know who he is, but when did he break out?
He really broke out probably about like just before COVID.
Really? Was that soon?
Yeah, yeah. I think it was right around just before COVID broke out, and
so
he started being able to do stuff in like Chicago and Michigan. I used to see him going out there all the time.
But was it him going out just doing sets and people noticed who he was?
Getting booked. I don't know if that's the case, but I know he was putting work in, and
yeah,
I would see him everywhere, and I would like randomly run into him, like, "Oh shit, Dan, good seeing you." It's like and the camaraderie, like you said, from some of the older guys, like, "Oh my God, it was great seeing him."
Yeah,
and then other people are like, "Who's that?" And it's like, "Oh, this guy," and then he's the headliner. I'm like, then you have some like young comics like, "I'm funnier than him."
Yeah,
which of course you're gonna get, and most times those aren't the funnier people.
It's a lot of ego-driven stuff out there too.
Yeah,
it's like, did you see my YouTube or did you see this? You see the hits I got and stuff.
Dan's never been one of those people, and thankfully,
yeah, he really worked for it. And,
he put in the work. Like
well,
I'm not sure. Do you know his backstory though?
I don't. No, I know he is, but I don't.
He was
know
a pitcher, and he something happened. He didn't make it to D1. He went D3. Stayed local, and first inning of the first game he pitched, blew out his shoulder and elbow. So ended the pitching career. And he was always the funny guy. So rehabbing, he started telling jokes to try and get himself through it. Yeah. And people were like, oh, yeah, try stand-up, go do that, go do it. And he's like, yeah, and because he had nothing else going on, theoretically in that sense, like, he gave up on his college dreams, his baseball dreams. He's like, I'm going to do this. He's like, the hell with it. I'm going with this. I'm going to go full bore. Just started going out and just hitting it hard. And the man's been doing it for a while now. That's really interesting. I had no idea
like was
putting kind of work in like that.
And something he fell in love with too. You know?
You got to respect the dedication.
Yeah, I mean, you have to really love it to do. But I think we all do love it.
Well, you know what it is. I think the bigger thing is most times we love the comedy part. The business side is what's changed.
It's pretty
the most.
shitty. Yeah,
and when you add the shitty people that are out there,
right,
that never help anybody. It's like, really? I'm like, you're trying to do what now?
Right.
It's like, ugh.
You know what doesn't help either, Dave? I don't know, and I could be wrong, but it's just my opinion. When we were younger, you do the bringer shows, or if you were lucky enough, you'd get the comedy club.
Right.
You get someone would like you, and hey, do you want to do 5-10 minutes?
Right.
And work your way around club and place. But here, turn around, you're left and right. It's not just comedy clubs anymore, man. It's bars, it's restaurants, it's bowling alleys, it's weddings, it's parties. And there are some shows.
I remember the first time I got asked to do a birthday party, I thought it was weird. And somebody that I was talking, I was like, hey, what do I charge for this?
Was it a kid's party?
No, it was an adult's party. He's like, hey, I want you to come. I want you to, roast me and the family. I'm like, okay.
Really?
I'm like, I'm in.
What? Do you mind me asking what you got paid?
Like $350
Oh, no kidding. For a full set?
for 2 45-minute sets. I probably
Oh, wow.
undersold it. Yeah, but
Two
it was,
45
It was
minute
literally
sets.
just crowd working the whole time.
Right.
Because they didn't want any material. They just wanted me to just fuck with everybody.
Well, this explains why you're a good host. As we were talking about before,
Right.
you know, the fact that you're a good host. Is...
That made me realize I needed to do more hosting. When I did that, I'm like, all right, I'm in. Challenge accepted.
Well, you know, this is what I don't. Well, you hear it all the time too. That there's comedians that, or there's bookers that saying, well, I don't want to host. I want a comedian. I want to see a set. I don't
Right.
want to see. Because it's two separate things, which I don't think is fair too. Because there's a lot of times I've gone to comedy clubs where the host is the best person. He is the best comic.
I don't disagree.
But, I mean, he doesn't have a set. This is true.
Right.
He doesn't. But he you know he doesn't have a set. But he's the funniest one there, and it's weird that they don't get the same respect as an actual comic that's booked there.
Well, that's something that when I first started, I've always been a fan of comedy. And I remember being in college, going to like comic strip because they'd always come by the school and hand out like five pairs of tickets for like $10 or whatever just to get people in seats.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. I'm like, it was great for date nights in college because, especially if you're taking some freshman there and she's underage, they'll let you drink in the city.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, great. Well, we're gonna go out and we'll have some drinks. It's like, and it'll kind of be legal because it's the city, nobody cares.
Right, yeah.
And we go out, have a good time, laugh our asses off, which is always a good aphrodisiac.
100%.
It's ready to roll.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember for the longest time, I'm like, the host is good. What's wrong with the rest of these people?
Yeah.
That first guy, I really liked him. I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, and then one time I got really annoyed. Also, it was one of those comic strip shows, and there was a pop-in guest, Damon Wayans.
Oh,
Just decided
gosh.
to pop in. I'm like, this is what I came to see.
Oh, there you go.
I got
yeah.
lucky, yes, but I didn't know how lucky I was. I'm like, wow, this is what I've been waiting for. Nobody told me this was going to happen. This is awesome.
Mm-hmm. That's only good if you're not the comic on the show.
Fair.
Yeah.
But you know something? If you're running that show, you want something like that.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
you want people to come back.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Well, there's no guarantee.
No, there's no
celebrities will
guarantee,
come
but
back.
you want people to like, wow, that was great. I need to come back.
Right.
So theoretically, it's what you want.
Theoretically, yes.
Yeah.
That's correct. That's correct. I don't know. Running. Like anyone could run a show now. You can run a show. I could run a show. We can get a show going. Will it be a high quality show?
Well,
No,
see, that's the thing.
but-
We could either do a high quality show or do such a shit show because we're trying to pack all of our friends on the stage and like I
Well, we've all had that where
Right.
it's like, why are there like 15 comics on?
right, and those
it's-
are
yeah.
those shit shows are never good.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I produce a monthly show right now with a friend of mine up in Morris Plains at Tiff's at the Dojo of Comedy.
Oh, you do the dojo?
Yeah.
You book the dojo of comedy?
We do a monthly thing up there. Yeah,
I know the dojo of comedy,
Yeah.
but I didn't know you ran it.
I don't run that. I just produce one show a month with a friend of mine.
Okay.
And I told him like, listen, love you, buddy, but if you think we're just gonna do that, I'm like, we'll work together. We'll make sure we have quality shows, but I'm not gonna do anything with. If we have more than like 5 people, 6 people tops,
Yeah.
like it's gonna be a shit show. We can't do it.
Right.
And then, like this, and you want to pay favors back, but you want it to be a good show.
Sure.
So it's like, well, I'm like, do you want to come back in 2 months?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
Because you want to keep quality. Because we're, in order to do that, you need to get more than one place. So that way you can move more than one person around. You're like,
Right.
this was great. This worked here. This person's going to be better for this.
Most comics I know don't really have a shit fit if they can't get them on. Like, do you know anybody that really had? I don't think I have any real stories of anybody that was like, "You're not going to put me on? Well, f you, and I'm never going to do your show again." Like,
Thank God, no.
I don't think I've ever had that. I've seen it. I don't think I've ever had it. Like,
Well, I get the like, well, how come you never put me on the show? I'm like, well, first of all, we were looking for funnier people.
Well, that's.
I mean, I
that's
usually
key.
don't say that, but that's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
that's key.
Like I had like so.
Well,
my big thing is I want to get more hosts to come up because I think if you learn to be a better host, you
be
can
better
help your
comic.
career.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
something I was taught, and I may be superstitious and jinxing myself because I think that helped me. But when I found like 1 or 2 young comics, I'm like, hey, I want to help you learn how to host. Why don't you do so you could host one of my shows? It's like, all right, great. You're gonna put me on a show next month? You totally missed the whole point of what I was just talking about. I'm like,
Right.
just call me. I want to talk about this. We got to figure out how you want to work. I want to help you. Just even if you give me like an hour beforehand, so
Right.
I can just discuss. Hey, talk to these people. Learn how to look around the crowd.
Right.
Stuff like that. And it's like, oh, well, now you're not putting me on the show. And literally, the one person I was talking to was like, well, whatever. I'm like, okay, then I won't.
Really?
I don't need to pay you to be on the show because you don't want to be a host. You don't want to fucking take the time.
Yeah.
That's on you. I can't help that.
It's pretty amazing, and you're
And it's usually the younger comics like, oh, I need something.
you're actually following protocol where people are like, you know what, you can host, almost like you can host before you can actually be like a feature on the comic. You know,
Right.
like it's like 8 out of 10 times that I see it's. I know we were just talking like, you know, we've seen a lot of times where the host is funnier.
Yeah.
Right? But the initial protocols when you have a comedy show, it's usually the least funny guy. That's the, you know, that's the host. And then you bring up the other comics. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, who are we putting on? Well,
Ideally-
well, this guy's only been doing comedy for 8 months. Let him host. You've heard that many times.
Yes.
Or he's done it 4 or 5 months. Let him host. Right? How long has he been doing it? 4 years. Right? He's got to be a feature, or he's
Right.
got to, you know. I mean, right?
But ideally, it should go in ascending order of funniest. Yeah, if you have somebody that's a good host, then the next guy's funny, the next guy's funny, and then the headliner just blows it out the water.
Right.
But if for any reason that you can't have that, the way to get around that is if you have a really good host and a really good headliner, the other two people in the middle, kind of a toss up. 2, 3
Right.
people in the middle, it's like, all right, as long as they're not unfunny.
Right.
If they're unfunny,
Well, the features are really important. I mean, the features
I'm
are
not saying the feature's
really
not important,
Because
but-
how many times, not to cut you up, but how many times you've gone to a show and the feature is explosive over the headliner?
that's always not a good thing.
I don't. It's almost not fair because
No.
you got like 20, 25 minutes just to destroy. So you got 20, 25 minutes to just all your A-list stuff. So
Right.
you can just crush it. Where if you're doing a headline gig for an hour and 10, you know, there's going to be lulls. You know.
Yeah, but I've also seen some headliners that come with the energy and they just come with the fire, like Buddha.
Well, Buddha's he's a powerhouse. He just comes in
Yeah.
like, yeah, like he just come get you.
He comes right out, and you'll be there for an hour of just laughing your ass off because
Yeah.
he just does not stop.
Yeah.
And like Craig Lloydgren is another. You know, he just runs out there.
Craig's just crazy. That guy.
Yeah, he's out of his mind.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Rich Carucci is another one.
Carucci's funny,
literally,
too.
he's known as the steamroller of comedy. That's his
Yeah.
nickname because he just goes out and he doesn't care what the crowd is. He'll just go out and just barrel through and just
But
and,
that- but
and you'll
here's-
laugh your ass off.
But let's be fair. We've been doing comedy for a long time. Sometimes it just doesn't work. You have a crowd, and it's just a little bit too much. You know, there's times where I've had it where like I'm like I just can't. It's just a little too much. Not saying those guys are awesome. But
Yeah,
there's times
no.
I've been doing a show, and it's just it's like it's just too
Well,
much.
some
Where-
crowds are not ready for that either.
Well, and there it is too. It goes to the crowd as well. What type of crowd you're gonna have? What kind of
And my favorite is if you have not so much now, but and now I'm just gonna sound like a weird guy.
Not
like,
you.
No, older crowds like, and I say older because now that I'm 50, I start feeling like I'm an old guy now. I
Yeah.
got my AARP card. I'm ready. I don't know, but like you go to
discounts, hotel discounts, baby.
You do a show where it's like people that are in their like 60s and 70s,
Yeah.
and it's like they've never been to a show before. They're not sure if they're supposed to laugh, and it's like, and they sit there and you go through the show and you feel like you're getting nothing. Then you have all these like 70, 80-year-old ladies come up to you after the show. That was very nice. You're a nice young man. That was very funny.
Yeah.
I appreciated all of it. You have no idea how much I laughed. I'm like, no, I don't, because you didn't laugh.
laugh at all, yeah.
You didn't even clap. You didn't do anything. You
just
didn't even
being polite.
smirk, smile. They're like, mm-hmm. I'm like, okay. I'm like, you're allowed to laugh. You know that, right?
When you have a crowd like that, it's
It's usually an older crowd, but they're still very nice. They come back.
I don't think I've ever had it where I've had a crowd full of just a bunch of 70, 80-year-olds.
Oh, I have.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I've ever been booked like that. The worst crowd I think I've ever had was...
I've done a couple senior centers, and kind of
Wait,
intentionally.
you got booked for that?
Yeah. I had, well, mostly.
Wait, somebody actually booked you to do a senior center?
Yeah, be
Like,
clean.
was it a Christmas party or something?
Like PG clean. Like, I couldn't say the F word.
The whole set?
Yeah. Which is
I mean,
tough
that's
because I
possible.
let it fly.
You're not a blue comic.
No, I'm not blue, but, you know, I may say some stuff that may, like, hey, what was that about?
Okay.
But, you know, nothing, no, you're right. It's not blue, but, you know.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get into my head. I don't think anyone's ever booked. Well, forget me or anyone else. I don't think I didn't think they actually had those shows, Dave.
Oh, they do.
Like you're booking, Here's
community center for the senior
If you're
homes?
right, but if you're a community center for senior homes, I could see them booking. If you want entertainment, of course. I could.
They also don't want to pay for, like, an Uncle Floyd, so.
Oh no, I get that. I get that too. I get that too. But I more see them getting a pianist or
Or like
a
the funny
quartet.
piano guy.
Not even comedy. I mean,
Yeah.
I not even comedy. I think if you're looking for entertainment at a senior citizens place,
Shuffleboard.
Well, I mean, they have that someone that could teach shuffleboard. I mean, I don't know, but comedy just doesn't seem to be something.
Young gigolo teaching Roomba.
See, that's cool. A bunch of seniors doing that. Well, you know what? Even that. I know you were joking, but something like that.
No, I'm not. I'm
to
thinking
get them
about
active, but comedy.
I'm thinking like when I was in high school in the '80s, and my dad was like, "Yeah, watch out! All these old people are down in Florida getting AIDS because they're banging the dance instructor at the senior center."
Wow!
And of course, that's my dad saying it. I'm like, "Okay, Dad,
Like,
thanks."
really?
Yeah, I'm like, and then all of a sudden, then he showed me the article. I'm like, "This is real."
Wait, I'm sorry. So what was the headline?
I forget the actual headline.
Yeah.
I was just more shocked. It was a spike in senior AIDS.
Because they're
And well, yeah, I mean, they didn't specifically say that, but I mean, think about it. If you're 70, you're not wearing protection.
that's true too.
You're not thinking about getting somebody pregnant at 70,
They're still
especially if C70.
They're still fucking.
Some of them. Hey, don't you hope to be at least at that point? You want to be able to at that point, and think about
I
it.
guess no. You know,
And more so
I don't
now,
mean
you
to
can get
laugh.
a
Hold
pill
on.
and forget about it.
I don't mean to laugh. I don't mean to laugh, but it's something that I just don't think
You
about.
can't unsee now.
You know, I don't want to think about it. I'm thinking. I don't need to. I don't want to think about it. But let's go back to it. So you were booked at a senior citizen home,
Right.
and it did. Well, how many times?
I've done 3 of them.
Jesus, are you good at this?
No. Well, but you know.
No one's ever booked me for that. No one's even thought about booking me for that. But it didn't go well. It didn't go well.
It didn't go terrible.
Good for you.
Funny part. So
Good for you.
2 of the other comics that were on that show, the one, because it was a cordless mic and they never brought the backup batteries, and it was close to the end of the show, every time he tried to hit the punchline, the battery went out. Which made it that much more funny because all the old people were laughing because you couldn't hear what he said. So it sounded like he was being censored, but he wasn't. It was just the battery dying on the head.
Okay, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
And then the other guy who curses a lot during a set gets to the end and doesn't curse, and right before his closer, he goes, fuck, I'm not supposed to say fuck," and he's like, and everybody just starts laughing because they saw the frustration. He's like, "Sorry."
Oh shit!
But they thought that was funny that he cursed.
Right.
So it was like, and he's like, well, he's like, all right, let me just end on this.
Yeah, maybe that's what he needed through the whole set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, it wasn't bad. It didn't go bad, but they appreciated his candor. I was like, oh man, I'm sorry, I fucked up.
I find it. I just
Do
find
the
it
old
interesting.
Animal House. Hey, you fucked up. You trusted us
Yep. How many people are at those things?
at the senior show,
Yeah.
like the audience.
Yeah.
They usually get packed out because what else do they have going on?
I guess. Yeah, it's entertainment.
Yeah,
It's entertainment.
they're out of their room.
I don't even know what type of set I would even do. Like when I did like the college circuit, it was crazy because I would have different, like you would have like different things in your arsenal. You know,
Yeah.
You got a college kids that just want to scream, so just to say fuck you, who wants to get laid, and kids go crazy.
Yeah,
And a lot of times when you do,
but I don't even know if you could do that anymore.
well, now you can't. That's why no one does colleges anymore.
Yeah, which is silly.
which is why I don't do it anymore. But when you do colleges, there are student organizations that put it together. So it's not like Oklahoma State says, "Hey, we're going to have this huge thing," unless you're like
Yeah,
huge. You know what I'm saying? But most student organizations have the show, and then it's a decent show. It's a theater.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? So you would have to have different sets. You know? Like you would have to have, okay, this set is for people that are a little more conservative. These are for people more liberal. The beard guzzling crowd. There was just so much. So I just can't think. I would have nothing in my arsenal.
You told me you got booked a lot because you were the Asian comic. What
When
did you
I-
have specific for that?
When well, there it is. Okay, so all right. So here's the thing. When I did the colleges, a lot of times the Asian student organizations, like the KSA, or just if you're the Asian student. When I did Rutgers years ago, okay, we were the Korean Student Association, and I believe the Filipino Student Association was the first time that they came together.
Okay.
Because I toured with a bunch of other Asian comedians. It wasn't huge. I think it was like 4 of us, and they came together.
And they got all 4 of you together?
We all got together, and you believe it? And it was hilarious because we were like, are people going to show up? And you know how they have those cafeterias, but they have a wall, you
Yeah.
know, to make sure so it's smaller. They had to actually remove that wall, and
That's a good problem.
to fill everything. It was so packed. it felt really good. Like our dicks felt pretty fucking big that everything was packed in there until we realized that they were giving out free food.
Hey, whatever
students.
it takes.
So we're like, all right. So that's probably had something to do with it. The
That was probably part of the budget that you were talking about.
that could have been it, and that couldn't have hurt because think about it, if you're a college kid, you're hungry, you go to the comedy show, which happens to be free if you have a student ID, and there's food.
Yes.
So why not go? And
It's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. But
Did you go to Rutgers?
it was a student. I did for a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
And then, as a student organization, what ends up happening is they're like, we're having a dance, or we're having this event, and we want to come.
We're going to do the ethnic fashion show.
Well, we're gonna do ethnic exactly.
I remember going to them. Those were always fun.
You're absolutely right. We're gonna have
There's free food.
there's-
and girls in weird dresses. I'm in.
Yeah, there's this Asian month,
Yeah.
and they would have these things. You're absolutely right.
Asian Pacific American Month.
They have these all the time. But yeah, so when I went to answer your question, when I did colleges and I was just Asian, I think I got booked at these because there were only so many, and I think they were
And
like,
when you
hey,
were
know
an
what?
Asian, what'd you do?
Well, I haven't been Asian for years. I stopped. Yeah, Ming too. Man, we stopped being Asian how many years ago? So.
Oh, so many years ago. So many years ago.
So, I mean, the truth of the matter is we use it. I mean, the Asian thing for comedy, but there was a time where I didn't even mention one time I was Asian, and people would come after me after a show and be like,
You should have said that.
You're aware you're an Asian, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah," but sometimes it's back in my show, and I do it here.
What am I
because
gonna do,
people
Dat
wanna hear it.
Fan?
People want to hear it. You know what's funny? I was just talking about Dat Fan not too long ago. You know Dat Fan? Like, his stuff?
I have not met him, although he was bilking a bunch of young comics recently during the pandemic. And I hate making fun, but
I've seen that.
I have to call him out.
He has a show online, right? And
He was doing
it
Zoom
online?
shows and making people pay to take his Zoom class to do Zoom comedy.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was.
He was making them pay?
Yes.
Wait, okay. These are two separate things.
Okay, go
Right,
ahead.
all right. So I saw the shows that he had, right? Those were comics that must not have paid to get on his Zoom. Those were the comedians that I think he invited
Were they
on.
regular comics or
I didn't know any
Or-
of them.
all right.
But I don't think you're not
any
going
of
to
the
pay to be part of that.
any of the local people? I know more than one that did. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
To get on that?
Yeah, exactly.
Because the viewership wasn't even that large.
Right. He was
Wow.
making a killing off of new comics saying, "But that fan said I was funny." I'm like,
Are you kidding me?
not at all. And every time I
Wait,
see
where,
that,
where did you hear this? Like, where did you hear this?
I'm
I'm
not going to name the comics' names.
No, you don't have to. Give me initials.
You would not
do I
know
know
them.
You sure?
No,
Okay.
they're all newer comics. Like started within the last 3 years.
Okay.
And let me put it this way. So the one girl that I found out from, and I started asking other people afterwards. I'm like, really, you're doing that? She did a show. She was still kind of new, but she was funny.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, cool. And all of a sudden, that fan said this is even better. And then after the pandemic, she's like, I've been killing it in Zoom comedy. I'm like, that's not even a normal statement, first of all.
No, it's not.
So I'm like, all right. So we booked her at the dojo again because we had her just before the pandemic and now coming out of the pandemic. Well, she's a teacher. Teachers usually have a lot of friends that come out to shows.
Right.
You try and book a teacher if you can.
Sure, that's cool.
We get her out there. She had some people there. Not that bad. The quality was not as good as it was before that. And I've seen her be a lot funnier. I'm like, because you get used to Zoom comedy where you're waiting for the laughter because
Yeah.
you have that delay. And I'm like, yeah, it just throws your timing off. I don't know why people would want to do that. Like, I get some of the bigger comics because some of the clubs were paying them to do it.
Yeah.
Sure.
I actually didn't like that either, but
I didn't
that's
like
not-
that
that's-
either,
That's
but
another story.
I
but
get
can
why
understand
they would
why.
do that.
Right.
Yeah. You want to get paid. I'm in. You know what I mean? Like, if
Do
I'm
you,
one
do you
of
know
them,
how
I'm
much
gonna-
this cost?
for the class? Or,
Yeah.
I think it was like $5-10. It wasn't a lot.
Okay.
But if you have like 10, 15 people each hour.
All right. Well, at least it wasn't like $25-50 because
That's outrageous. No, but still, I'm like, but like I was saying, like every time everybody's like, yeah, but that fan, I'm like, I can only think of Patrice when that fan was on, what do you call it, Tough Crowd.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
like-
he went nuts on that. Like he was just
First of all, he flipped out, and then he's like, I'm more insulted that you call yourself a comedian. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I remember that. Well, he wasn't really respected. It's crazy because he was never really respected.
Well, you know what happened? He did Last Comic Stand and then won.
He won. He beat Ralphie May.
Right, which is a travesty.
Well, he won
but
because,
that's a whole other story.
Well, no, I could tell you why he won. He won because a lot of people through the whole show they kept picking on him.
Yeah.
And I think America at that point was like, why are they picking on this kid? Because if you look at that, like what you said was kind of shitty. I didn't know he was I didn't know he was charging for that.
That's what you meant. I was being shitty. I was just pointing out that he was being shitty.
No. Hold on. It was like, no. What he was being really, you don't do that. I think that was pretty stupid. They did that. Okay.
But like I said, it goes back to the whole point of the business. Like, there's some people that are assholes, and you wouldn't expect it to be from somebody that's been through it like us.
Yeah.
But yeah, some people are just terrible people.
That's a shame with him because I've heard through the grapevine he has helped people.
Right.
And going back to the show, if people that haven't seen the show, it was years ago, like 95, 96 maybe.
No, it wasn't that long.
No,
It was like 2010.
Was it that long?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. I'm
It
sorry.
was in my son's lifetime. He's 19, so it was definitely
Okay, so it's 2000 something, but people that don't know Last Comic Standing, just in a nutshell, the Cliff Note version is that it was like a reality show they had on NBC. I think Rich Voss was on it too.
Yeah,
right?
he was him and Jim Norton.
Norton was on it too.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And he quit
not
the first
the
episode.
The first episode. Okay, so the idea is that they had these comedians, they put them in a house, they do this reality show. They do these these errands that they get.
Yeah.
And whoever loses the last two errands, they have to go head to head, competition wise, stand up comedy, and then America votes them off.
Right.
Right. So that's how it goes. But through the whole thing, they were all these were all really good comedians as well, right?
Right. They weren't like brand new comedians. They
yeah.
were people that have been doing it for a couple of years.
Right. They were like, give me the mic anytime. Like you and I. If we
Yeah.
go, it's like anytime you go out, you know you're a comic because when you go somewhere, you're like, come on, coach, put me in.
Yeah.
You're ready to go regardless. Okay. So these were all those comics, but I think Dat wasn't. I believe Dat was new at that time. Like he's only been doing it for like a year or two.
Okay.
So he was still fairly.
That part I didn't know.
Yeah. So I think he was still. I think he was still a little like a little wet behind the ear type thing. And they kept picking on him.
Yeah.
So, and I think America saw, yes, was he as funny? No. But they just kept picking on him. And I think that's why when it came to Ralphie, who's a powerhouse,
Right.
may he rest in peace, but an absolute powerhouse, good comedian, talented guy,
Yeah.
much funnier than that. I think America felt bad for that, and that's how he got it. And because of that, comedians, his peers were like, well, he shouldn't have won. He won because he wasn't funny.
Well, the other problem with that is he won with his 20 minutes of material, and then they started booking him the headline where you
Right.
need at least 45.
Yeah.
And he didn't have it.
I believe he brought his friends on. I believe.
Yeah, but like that
Yeah.
literally goes against what they're paying you to do.
Yes.
So it's like
Correct.
Yeah, and so the club owners were getting pissed, the other comedians were getting pissed because he won, he's getting people bumped out so he could get that show. Like you're like, oh,
Yeah.
we could have you or that fan. I guess we're gonna get that fan because he just won. He was just on TV.
And he was pseudo famous.
He's the new name.
And
Yeah,
people are
he's the
gonna
new
come and see
name.
him,
Let's jump on the bandwagon. And then it was like a bit. Once again, it goes back to you put on a show that's not as good as like, yeah, people aren't going to go to that club now.
Yeah.
You think this is the guy to have? Now we have to question you.
You got to admit this. God, wow, that's got to suck. Can you imagine like getting like a weekend at the Ice Palace and you don't have the material?
That I would be horrified.
That's got to suck.
Right.
Like,
That goes- like I was saying earlier.
That's got to suck, man.
I was saying that earlier. Like I could close out a show, but I would never say I'm ready to headline because I'm like I don't. You know what I mean? I'm like I'm not that guy. I don't feel confident enough. Granted, I appreciate you saying like you think I could do it.
Yeah.
I haven't really done it. I haven't done more than like 30, 35. Not ready to start doing 45. Granted, it sounds like 10 minutes. For most people that don't understand, it's a bit that
No,
much big of
in
a deal.
comedy, it's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I would never want to be in that position. I would never try and say I'm ready to do that unless I knew I was, because I don't want people like, yeah, this guy just bulldozed his way in and now he's the asshole.
But like once again, did he bulldoze his way in? He just
I'm saying me.
Oh,
I'm not
you.
saying in
Oh,
that
you. Oh,
situation.
yeah.
That situation is like, well, NBC put him on. Let's go.
So this really wasn't his fault.
No, but
And
he was lucky, and
You got to give him props on this too. I didn't know he couldn't headline.
right.
I knew that this explains why when you see him do shows, he's always with somebody else,
Right.
Because someone else, So that would explain that. So
Yep.
I would see that would make sense. But you gotta give the guy this. He got the gig. He did what he needed to do. He's doing.
He did
the
what he needed
shows,
to do to win.
but he didn't pull a Carlos.
Mencia, no.
He could have been. Think about that. Let's think about that.
I'll give him that.
I need an extra 20 minutes. So let me just rewrite. Let me find some young comedians. Take their best shit. No one knows who they are. And
No,
I'll
but
I'll just rebrand it as my own.
You would think though that it wouldn't be the first time a comic had people help writing. You would think that he might have been able to talk to NBC and say, "Hey, or somebody that was on the
Actually,
show.
that's true. I've thought
You
about that.
you would think that, hey, Voss, could you help me with this? Or one of the other people, somebody had to be to say, hey, I only have 20. I'm trying to. What do you think is the best way of doing it?
You're absolutely right, because if he was honest with somebody and said, I know I won last comic standing, if you went your peers and says, I won, I only have 25 material.
Right.
Can-
Especially
can
when you
you
have
help?
people that aren't ready. Like, listen, I know I won. I was very lucky. I don't want to embarrass the comedy community.
Right.
Like, you would think you would have the wherewithal, but he went in head first. He was like, yep, I won. Let's go.
Yeah.
Accepted the responsibility he wasn't ready to handle.
I think I would have. There's no way. No. I probably would have done what you did, and I didn't even think about that. NBC, do you have any? Let's be honest. Do you have any? You know what?
Well, think about this,
there's a lot of pieces to this puzzle too. Because maybe he just didn't want. Because let's say he had the facade where he didn't do it. He's got management and agents and be like, he only has 25 minutes. I can't sign him. I can't.
You would think the agent would have said so, but no, the agent didn't do that either.
Because the agent needs to sell him. He's hot at that point.
Right.
I can get into movies. I can get into TV.
Right.
But you got to do stand up.
That too. But think about this. Now, if it was you or me, now I'm like, Matt, listen, I got this offer. I don't want to say no to it. I know I'm not 100% ready, but if you could help me, I would definitely help compensate you. I know Matt would totally be on board. Probably wouldn't even accept any money. But, there's definitely people, once you're doing it a year or two, you'll have one or two people that'll help you with a couple jokes.
I would say so. Or you have those groups where you're like, hey, I have this joke. Can I help you?
Yeah,
How do
you
make
can
it better? How do you
workshop
make
it with
stronger?
people.
Yeah.
How could I make it stronger? How could I expand on it? Like, it comes down to he didn't do the writing. He didn't put the work in.
Right.
And that pissed a lot of people off.
Well, once again,
Not just his peers, the club owners too.
But once again, I don't know the guy, but 20, 25 minutes he had on his own. He's only been doing it for like 2 years, I think.
Right.
And
that's still good. But, if you're going to make that next step, you have to make the next step.
I'm going to think that after he won,
should have.
Well, after he won, that he was going to get. Think about that. You win on a Tuesday. I don't know when it was. It escapes me. You win on a Tuesday. Saturday, you're at the Laugh Factory and you're headlining. Or you're at the Comedy Store. Mitzi loves you. There probably wasn't any time. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
Not immediately, but
it happened so fast, and because his name was something at that time.
No,
it does
you do
suck.
have to strike while the iron's hot. I agree.
And
I'm not going to falter for that part.
It does suck though, because everybody on that show and Last Comic Standing could easily give me the mic. I'll headline. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Like, are you joking me? Even someone like you that doesn't think you're ready. If you won, you got no choice.
Right.
You're getting you're gonna take what you got and you're gonna hit it.
Or let's just say, not even because I won that, but somebody said, "Dude, I thought you were great. I want you to do this."
Yeah. You got to do the Poconos,
Yeah, I'm like, all right.
I'm paying you $1,000. All right.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
But I would definitely make sure I sat there and wrote, because, it's not like he had a different job that he was like, oh, well, now I have to quit. He didn't quit a job to go on the road. He was already doing comedy.
Right.
So
Right.
theoretically, you have the time. You're there all day. You should be able to get a couple more minutes out each week. To a year and a half in to doing that, and you still don't have your 45, that's all on him.
I wonder what would happen if he won and he went as the feature. And he's like, look, they're coming to see me. I'm the feature. But I need an A-lister in there to headline. Like, I wonder, because the club gets what they want. That's there.
Yeah.
And they get an A-lister. And I'm talking a real A-lister. Let's say he went to Voss. Let's say he went to Ralphie. Let's say he went to Ralphie and look, everyone knows who you and I are. I won, so I'm getting booked here.
We'll co-headline this.
You don't even have to say. Well, I guess you could co-headline it.
You could co-headline it.
But he's getting 45 and he's doing whatever. Now, what's gonna rub Ralphie the wrong way? He's not gonna get.
He's not gonna get the big pay.
He's not gonna get the big pay. Like the dad.
And he had the exposure, so yeah, that would suck. No, but think about this. I'm assuming.
Or if you're not to cut you off, but if you're
okay.
if you're dad, you're like, all right, I'll break off a piece of what I got.
Well, think about this. How many people do we know locally, between New York and New Jersey?
Oh, tons.
That are good enough to be touring.
Oh.
But they're whether it's like a family obligation or whatever it is, they can't just go out and do the road. How many of those people, if given the opportunity to be a road feature for him, to try and help him write and get more time in, that would have helped.
That's true.
I guarantee
that's true.
I guarantee LA has a bunch of comics that could have helped them do that too. And even if you wanted to go ethnic with it, you probably could have found a bunch of ethnic comics to go with him to try and help him with that. Like, hey, this will work. And it's not technically Mencing the bit, but you have somebody else that's there. Bobby Lee guaranteed knows somebody else that's another Asian comic that could have helped them.
Apparently, Bobby's a big fan of Dad. Dad helped Bobby a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, right there.
Yeah.
So right there, there goes the answer. He had the opportunities
Yeah.
and didn't see
You
his
think it was
downfall.
ego?
I can only assume. I don't want to. And I'm assuming not just based on those stories from the road, but from what I hear that he did to Newark Comics taking their money. He's like, yeah, he don't give a damn.
Okay, that's driving
Listen.
me crazy. All right, that is driving me nuts. That is driving me nuts that he was doing that. Wow, dude.
Did you see any of that was on Facebook where he was putting that out?
I saw some of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't stomach it because once again, I
like to hold the microphone and be in front of people.
That's
I agree.
it exactly. I want to hold the microphone and tell jokes.
Yes.
But I understand people had to do it with the whole Zoom thing, and that's fine.
Right.
They got to do the whole Zoom thing, but
Although, wait. Speaking of this, while I'm thinking of it, I just watched the other night, last night actually.
hey,
And
Sal Angeletti, what's up, man? He's
Hey, what's up,
watching.
Sal?
What's up,
I like Sal. The
Love you, Sal.
I was watching Gary Gulman do his thing about the
just did a
initials
show.
on the 50 states. He just did. Yeah, we were just talking about that, and then somebody was brought that up, and they were talking about his bit on Conan, where he did how they got the initials for all the states, and it was a great bit. And I watched. I'm like, it was pretty funny, but it was weird because you're on the stage for Conan, no mic. So you could see him being uncomfortable because he wants to hold it, and his hands
Yeah.
are like right here,
Yeah.
and like. I didn't notice it at first, and somebody pointed out, like, yeah, did you notice? I'm like, no. I'm like, holy shit, look at that. Like,
Yeah.
because we're so used to, like,
It really is a crutch, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is a great. And
It's
the,
either a
the
crutch-
mic, the mic stand too. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
It's either a crutch or like Underdog's Ring.
Or Underdog's Ring.
Yeah, where you can take that pill and feel fucking confident.
Oh yeah,
get ready to fly and do
yeah.
everything.
Yep. I was like Underdog. Oh my gosh, what a reference. Here's
That's because I'm old and I know old references.
Underdog is great. I remember Underdog.
I'm not
man.
thinking of the Jason Lee one. I'm just
No, I love Underdog. I don't know. I just that it's true with the mic and the mic stand. But I have seen comics that have done it with the ear thing, with the
Yeah.
earwig, and like I've seen them with the mic. I guess it's something I get acclimated to.
if you're somebody that likes to have that and you're used to that, that's not a bad thing.
I mean,
Like I can't see starting out unless you're somebody that's used to having a headset. Like I guess somebody my son's age that's used to gaming and having a headset
have
on,
this- yeah.
he might be ready for that. Where
I need it. It's,
You and me, it's like-
yeah. You know what I don't like? This is what I don't like. I don't like not having a stool.
I could go either way with that.
Yeah. And let me explain why. It has nothing to do with me sitting down.
I got you.
Okay. I need to put my drink somewhere.
Yes.
I
As long as I have a place to put my drink, I don't care what's there.
I hate putting my drink on the it's uncomfortable. I get out of my rhythm, and I even abridged at Kiss Kiss. Right?
Yeah.
And when I do Atlantic City, if it's not there, you know how you got to put it on the
Yeah.
on the corner, and it just kind of throws me off. I don't know why.
That's fair.
It just does. It's that. I mean, I need the microphone as well, obviously. But I need something there. It might not even need to be a stool. A chair will do.
A chair, a stool,
But it can't be
a
the
little
floor.
table.
A table. It can't be it just throws me off.
Yeah.
How about you?
I prefer that as well.
Yeah?
For that reason especially. I'm not somebody that likes to sit on stage, so I'm not saying I've never done it. I've literally done it like once or twice, and that was just because I was like, when I was still kind of new and I was at a mic, I'm like, I'm fucking tired. I'm sitting down, and I'm just going to talk to everybody and go over what I have in my head.
Okay, well that always works. That's
Yeah, and like like I said, I've done it, but it's not something I do.
What really pisses you off when you do a comedy show? Heckler. There's nothing with hecklers anymore, though. Is it like? And don't say people not laughing. Is there anything when you get up on stage that really?
No, I've had people not laugh at me. It's okay. I'm used to that. We've all been there, so that's not what bothers me. I'm with you on
You're
that.
funny, bro.
Fuck. Something that. Well, like I said, it's more of a pet peeve than pissing me off. Is
Yeah.
like I was saying, when you get the older crowd, and they sit there and they smile and they nod.
And they don't. Yeah.
But they've never been to a comedy show before in their last 80-something years, and they come up to you. It's like, that was very nice. You're a very funny man.
Yeah. Because they're just
You're a wonderful gentleman.
they're just patronizing you at that point.
Well, I don't know if they are or not, because I get hugs and stuff like, oh, that's so sweet.
That's sweet.
I'm like, oh, thanks, and I'm like, you could fucking laugh.
They're lying to you. It's
could've
all
fucking-
lies.
Even if they're lying, I'm like, you could at least clap once, smile, bigger smile, grin. I don't care what you do, anything.
Blink.
Blink
Blink
twice.
if you have to. If you're
Actually, I
that
said that
old.
to somebody in the front Thursday. I'm like, blink twice.
I think you did at
blink
the
twice
show.
if this is
Yep.
going badly.
Yeah. No. That was the front table, right? In the front table there.
That lady with her mom.
Yes.
I thought they were dating, but it was
Yes.
the mom.
You know what? It actually even kind of happened at the last show, and I just like one of my pet peeves, and this is why I don't like doing like a lot of bar shows.
Okay.
I don't like the noise in the background.
Oh yeah.
Like when I can hear the restaurant like going in and out, and I can hear I hate. This is why I like. This is
Overall,
why I like
we didn't
clubs
get
better.
a lot of that.
We did no. We did not get a lot of that. I'm not complaining. I'm not saying, but
most of the stuff that we did get, it was most of the other comics that were right next to the door. And I kept wanting to say something, but I was also talking, so I'm like, I'd be in.
yeah, they're ordering drinks at the bar,
Yeah, like,
and
and I'm like, well, I don't want to be a total asshole about it. I'm like, we're all having fun here. Nobody's, because if you notice, I kept walking inside and I'm like looking around and I'm listening. I'm like, all right, no, you can't hear it. I'm like, all right, well, it's like when you're standing by the door, it sounds totally different from inside and outside.
Oh yeah,
so I'm
my
like,
gosh, yeah.
Is this bad? How bad is this? How bad is this? I'm like, do I have to say something? Is this gonna be okay? And I walk in, I look around, I'm like, no, it's fine. I walk back out, I'm like, it's fucking loud. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm
yeah,
like,
it's. Yeah, it was.
I kept doing it. I'm like,
You should have said something.
No, I just wanted to make, but it's one of those things. When you were inside, you really couldn't notice it as much.
Yeah,
And when and I guess when you're outside and you have the different
the acoustics. Yeah.
and I was like, is this okay?
I mean,
But overall, it went well. So
I thought it was a great show, but when I hear the clinking and stuff, it wasn't terrible. I mean, it really wasn't. But you've done we've all done bar shows.
I hate
and
bar
like
shows.
you can't even like. There's a whole other world going on in the other room, and it's like my attention goes just to that, and I can't.
or you have the bar show where it's just you and the bar. I did one of those on Tuesday.
Oh my god! Well, people aren't there for comedy.
No. All right. Usually not. The one I did Tuesday in Staten Island, they were. Except
Really?
they were looking to get drunk and heckle everybody.
Yeah.
And the worst offender was the owner of the bar. He's like, "Yeah, I want you guys in here," and he just started. But let me put it this way: it was one of those things where you're happy that you go up early, and they said, "Hey, do you mind going to first?" And nobody wants to go first. I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take it.
You're out.
I'm in."
Yeah.
I'm like, because especially the bar shows, like, yeah, the further this goes, the worse this crowd's gonna be.
The more drunk they get.
Yeah, I'm like, yep, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'll go up first. And I had like one guy say something to me, and I made fun of him, like, oh, you look like a jack-o'-lantern, half your teeth missing in the back, And everybody started laughing, including the comics, and as well as the other people in the crowd.
Yeah.
And by the time we got to like the last three people, it was so rowdy. The owner was sitting there yelling at people, and it was just a total shit show.
See, at that point, it's not a comedy show anymore.
No,
so
no.
Why even do it? I mean, at that point, why even like?
And the one dude's up there, and he first of all he was nervous because he heard everybody before he walked in because he got there late.
Yeah.
And he decided to go outside and smoke to calm his nerves, and got so high he got like almost silent when he walked in. He's like,
jeez.
he's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. He's like, I don't care. I'm out of here. And just like took off. I'm
Oh,
like,
really?
Yeah.
He left?
He's like, well, no. He just walked to the back of the bar. He's like, I'm not doing this. I'm out.
Oh, jeez. Just quit on. Well.
He quit like 2 minutes in because they literally were just yelling at him.
Yeah.
And-
but you don't want to. I mean.
No, listen. And I felt bad, but at the same time, it's somebody I know that's been doing this a while. I'm like, shouldn't have had to handle that a little better.
Yeah. I was right. That's what I was about to say. I was
And like the new comic that drove him there,
Yeah.
because he doesn't have a car, handle it better. Guy that's been doing it like 6 months was able to handle that better. I'm like, yeah, not that he was great, but he was able to handle the crowd. He was able to deal with people.
I think you could sleep better at night. Right. To be honest with you, I think you sleep better at night knowing that if you're a comic and you got up.
Yes.
I really think even if the night didn't go well.
Right. No, we've all been there.
Yeah, you could sleep better at night instead of just quitting and not doing it.
Right.
And I honestly feel, I don't know if you know this, but the show we did on last week,
Right.
I wasn't feeling. Did you see my? I wasn't feeling like I wasn't feeling good.
Well,
at
you
all.
said you weren't
Yeah,
feeling
I was like my head was down. Even
Yeah.
Matt was like, "You all right?" I'm like, "No." And then and he was like, "Are you gonna do? Are you gonna do? Are you gonna perform?" And I was like,
If the cameras are on.
Remember, I was like, I didn't know because I really felt like crap.
Right.
Remember? I was like, ugh. And he was like, I was like, all right. And then like, no.
Then your friend showed up, and you're like, I guess
well,
I got
yeah.
it.
Well, then Matt's like, no, you're going on. Okay. I
Yeah.
was like, he's like, I'm not kind of like not giving you a choice. I need you to go on. I was
Right.
like, okay. And I
Well,
had-
he also needed the time because. You know,
Oh, that too.
Yeah.
But I had a fun show. We had such a good time. And I was.
you had those girls on the right. They were.
I had the girls on the right, and I.
girl with the blue hair.
I was. She's fun, by the way.
She was a lot of fun.
But I was.
we
let's say I didn't
we
do
were
it.
about 3 drinks from her taking her top off. Also,
Oh yeah.
admittedly,
You didn't go out with us afterwards, did you?
no, I hung out outside for a little bit. I didn't.
Okay, you didn't go out with us to the bar.
No.
afterwards? Yeah, I really thought her top was going to come off. Like, I was. Like,
All right, so maybe it was more than 3 more drinks.
No. I didn't say the top did come off. I was like,
Right.
I'm thinking that top's got to come off.
Yeah.
Like yeah, she was.
Well, my girlfriend was sitting there showing hers off because she had a boob job in April.
Well,
So-
you gotta show it off.
Yeah, so she's just sitting there like walking up to every girl like, no, look, it came out great, and people are walking up looking like a couple of girls are feeling. She's like, no, go ahead, you can touch. I'm like,
Really?
oh yeah, at the bar, outside of the show.
How do you feel about it?
I'm used to it. I don't dislike it. I'm okay with it.
Did she get it? Did she get it because she just I'm getting a little personal here.
No,
but
that's all right.
Did she get it because she just wanted to feel better about herself, or is
Both.
It was both.
It was she's 50. They were hanging down. She got them lifted.
Okay.
I actually do a joke about it now because they used to droop so low. I had a triangle of love. I had the nipple clit right all in one spot. I didn't really have to go anywhere.
That's funny, dude.
yeah. And
That's right. You got Ming laughing.
right. And she got them lifted. I'm like, now it's like cardio. I don't. This
That's-
is actually work. I don't like that part of it, but they look great now.
They should.
Yeah,
I mean,
she
I'm
paid
sure
enough.
they paid for them and stuff.
But now so we've only been dating a year, and I found out early on that like she was drunk, but she wasn't drunk enough where she was flashing everybody.
Okay.
Which I thought was a joke, but it was her best friend that was telling me this. I'm like, oh, this is a real thing. All right. And then eventually it happened. I'm like, okay. I've been waiting for this.
And now she's flashing at everybody.
Well, we were in Tampa last weekend, and at my Army reunion. A long story, but we did a fundraiser for a friend of mine. He had an embolism pass. We raised some money for the widow and the kids.
Okay.
I did a couple of minutes at the American Legion, speaking of not having to drop the F-bomb. The people at the Legion say I owe them $130 for all the F-bombs I dropped. Now, I know it wasn't that
let me
many.
ask you a question. Good show though.
It was a good show, yeah.
Okay.
So, we're down there, and the one night we're just hanging on the Riverwalk in Tampa, and she's drunk. She's like, my tits look great. You guys should see them. And she started talking to the other wives of my friends. So she's sitting there like, oh, and she's like, no, watch. She's like, I'll show you mine. Come on. She tried to get every woman to show her tits, which I'm in favor of.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I want to party with her. Like it sounds like
She's
she
a lot
sounds
to
like
keep
a good
up with.
time.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's amazing. But she's sitting there, and everyone's like, "Oh." So my one friend, he recently married a girl from the Dominican, and everybody thought she was kind of stuck up.
Yeah.
But they didn't realize she didn't speak English, and that's why she wasn't talking to anybody.
Oh, okay.
So once we figured that out, my girlfriend, of course, was trying to be the life of the party. She's like, "Come on!" And she started calling her J-Lo. She's like, "J-Lo, come on, show your tits, let's go," because she was fucking hot, and she was like, 28,
Beautiful.
married to a 50-year-old. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, look, this is happening. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm like, maybe. And by the end of the night, she's like, J-Lo, yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Which is
It broke her in.
hysterical.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she broke the language barrier there. She understood. J-Lo, shake your tits.
You got to bring her out, man. You bring her out more often, dude.
My wife?
Yeah.
My girlfriend?
Yeah, you got to bring her out more often, dude.
I'm in.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry you didn't come to the I guess the after
Well,
thing. You had.
she had work in the morning, so.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Well, that was.
She's
that
a
was
teacher,
Thursday.
so.
She molds young minds.
Yes.
That's a
She's in
beautiful
charge
thing.
of the future.
That's a beautiful thing. It was a good show. I wish you came. I wish everybody came afterwards, and we
Yeah.
just, we didn't. It was fun. We didn't get really too drunk. It was just kind of like, hey,
Well, see, the last time we did a weeknight show, it was still during, like, before everything opened up all the way. So things were open. We did the show at Americana,
yeah.
and we went to the bar afterwards in North Brunswick. Afterwards.
We did.
Yeah, you, me, Matt, Tracy was there. Her friend Christine came by.
We went to another bunch. Oh my God, we did. Holy, good
Yeah.
memory, bro. Jeez, that's right. That's
And
right.
the only reason she was able to do that because school was on Zoom.
Uh,
So she could just wake up in the morning, sit down, and do her 3 hours of classes in pajama pants and a t-shirt.
I don't think that Zoom thing.
Oh, it was terrible for kids.
Yeah, I don't think that Zoom thing worked. If I was a kid, this just would. I would not be able to pay attention at all.
Well, my son graduated it last year, 2020.
Oh, that's the shittiest thing. No graduate. Like missed
They had a
everything.
driving graduation, no prom. I was
That's
and
terrible.
meanwhile,
that really
he
is
skipped junior
shame.
prom. He's like, I'm just going to save it for senior year.
That's even worse.
I'm like, oh,
that's
poor
even
bastard. I'm like, yeah.
worse.
But, it was terrible because they kept giving assignments. I'm like, dude, you got work to do. He's like, yeah, I'll do it. And he would get work. It was literally almost nothing. But he would wake up at 5 p.m., do like 10 minutes of work, be done with his work for the day, and then play video games all night. And then go to bed at 5 in the morning.
Sounds like a great life.
It's a fucking great life.
This is a
I
great
told
life.
you, I'm like, you have no idea how jealous I am.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
that's amazing.
I'm like, your life is being ruined, but at least you're having a good time.
Is right? Is their life being ruined though? Really?
Yeah, when you're missing out on the end of your senior year and all those fun times that you're supposed to have, that you've looked forward to for at least those last few years of high school. Now, granted, yes, it's selfish because people are dying. I get that. However, when you're a kid, you're not thinking of that.
No, you're not.
You're
I'm-
thinking about how
I'm just saying
you got screwed.
There are trade-offs though. Like
There
I
are
said,
trade-offs.
He misses that, but he gets to stay home and do
Nothing.
He gets to stay home and do. So
Eat potato chips.
That's the trade-off. I mean, that's it. Kind of sucks.
Like,
mean,
I had
the
to
problem-
stop buying snacks for the house because he would just sit there and not want to eat food because he'd be up all night and he'd be sitting. I'm like, what happened to the potato? I just bought potato chips.
It's like that.
I didn't even have any. I'm like, yeah, I had them last night. I'm like,
The whole bag?
this morning. He goes, well, I had a little bit to eat. I'm like, did you eat food? If you eat food, I'm okay with it.
Of
Like,
course not.
I had some pizza bites. I'm like, it's not food.
No, for a kid it is.
Yeah, I know.
For a kid, that's nourishment.
Yeah, exactly.
Doritos, pizza
But
bites.
it's a little bit of breading, some of the sauce. That's like the vegetable.
Protein
you have
in
the
there.
pepperoni. You have the beef.
Oh yeah, and they'll try to sell it to you, but Dad, it has this and it has this. My friend's kid is like that. It's like, what are you talking about? Doritos, and it's like, no, there's nutrients. He'll turn over the bag and it has this many. and it's like,
It also
okay,
doesn't
all
help
right.
that I'm that dad that would be okay with that.
You're one of the cool dads.
Well, it's like, ugh, all right. Like my son's a very picky eater, so remember they still have them, the Locos Tacos,
Yeah.
the Doritos
Yeah,
Locos
yeah.
Tacos. Like, they're just way too much money, and you get very little out of it.
Right.
And I'm kind of a cheap fuck, so I'm like, I could just make taco meat and just get Doritos and use them and just scoop them out with that. And so my thing is, I do like a taco dip. I get the
That's true.
taco meat. Boom. My son loves that. He'll eat like a half a pound of beef.
Is your kid
And a
big?
bu-
Like, does he work out? I mean,
A little bit.
all right. I was about to say, you're making him sound like he's like
No, he's not a fat kid. He's not a fat kid.
shoveling it all in there.
He's also young and has a metabolism, so
That's true. Don't you
I
miss
couldn't
that?
eat like that.
Yeah. Don't you miss that when you were younger than you could though?
Yeah, when I could, it was amazing.
Yeah, boy, we were superheroes back then, weren't we?
I would. My mom would be cooking. She's like, "Hey, try this. How is it? That's good. Can I have another one?" Like she'd make like meatballs. I'd have like 4 before dinner.
Yeah.
Have like another 4 with dinner. Have a couple more afterwards.
And you were still thin.
Yeah, because I was an active young man.
Yeah. Well, to be young again, right, Ming?
I wish. I wish. I still act young. You feel it the next day, man.
Like I said, when you get
feel
to,
it the next day and it stinks.
I was saying it. When you get to a certain age, man, that check engine light comes on.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that you're done with that.
Well, I used to say you're only as young as the women you feel, but now I'm dating a 50-year-old. So
That's funny, dude.
That's-
Do you use that? Because that's
no, that's but I've only been dating her a year, and I just turned 50 myself, so I don't feel as young as I used to. Like, this is the first birthday that came, and I haven't used that joke because I'm like, I'm dating somebody my age.
yeah.
That's not as fun sometimes.
I get people look at me as pigs because I was going through my divorce and my divorce is final.
Which is good.
Which is,
Congratulations.
thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I don't know who I was talking to. He was like a business owner, and he was like, "Isn't that cute 20-something-year-old like you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, right." And so he was like, "Your divorce is over," and I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "How's all that going?"
So how long till you're with her?
Well, there it is.
When are you taking that one out?
Well, it was just so funny because he was like, "How long?" He was like, "Do you still keep
Are
in
you
contact?"
still grieving?
I'm not grieving at all, but apparently she's like, I don't know what she's doing. She's in the cannabis industry as well. But I think she's dating somebody. I don't know. But he was like, it was just, I bring it up because it's what you just said. And my friend, who's the business owner, right? He was like, listen, man. He was like, so you're divorced now? I'm like, yeah. You got some cute 20-something-year-old that's into you? He's like, yeah. you're winning.
Yeah,
He's like,
you've already won that battle.
He's like, you're winning.
Yeah.
And I was like, you really think so? He's like, oh my. He's like, yeah, you get some 20-something-year-old. It does everything for you. You
Yeah.
know? And I was like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. And he was like,
I use the old Bundy logic from Married with Children.
I love that show.
Where what's her name? The daughter went, you can't be past the big 2-5. I'm like, that just makes sense.
You can't be past
About women being past the big 2-5.
Wow.
And that was Kelly that said it, which is even more amazing.
That's crazy.
I'm like,
dude.
you got a point. Because something. Once it hits 28, it's really all downhill.
It's not just that. I mean, their SMV is you're right. Their sexual market value is in their 20s. That's a given.
Right.
But when they turn 28, they get a little crazy because they're like, you know what? I want my life. I want kids. I want this.
That's the curse that we have.
It's
we're at our horniest at between 16 and 22.
Yep.
They're at their horniest in their 30s.
And nobody wants them.
Right. It's like
that's wrong to say.
They're more attractive. No, listen, there's a reason they call it Sweet 16.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm looking for that. I'm just saying there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Listen, think about it. 100 years ago at 18, 20, you were an old maid.
That is true.
So, I mean, don't blame me. It's just science.
Things
it's
change.
biology, man.
Absolutely. We got to have another conversation about that, too, on SMV, because we can totally go on that. Like, we'll have people hating us.
That happens. Would it be the first time?
But, Dave, this was awesome.
No, it's definitely fun.
You're definitely going to be on again, man. And like I said, I enjoy your comedy. I enjoy your company.
Thank you.
I enjoy hanging out with you. You know, and every time, Matt has a show, I hope you're on it, because, I think we get along. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
And it's just always a good time.
And I still have to hit him about dates for Kiss Kiss next month.
I'll be there.
May have to push it to January.
Hopefully I'm there as well. You know?
Definitely.
It'd be cool. We all go down there. You know what I'm saying? And, I'm gonna have to bring like that 20-something-year-old and have her hang out with
Tracy,
your girlfriend, because I want to see her boobs, not hers, but her boobs.
Both.
Both. Well, you know what? I'm just saying though, if she can.
Tracy's a good time. She'll try and get her tits out.
See, that's always a great.
She's a team player.
That's always a great thing. What do you got coming on next, Dave? Where can they find you? What do you want to do? What do you got coming up?
You can find me on Facebook, Dave Hodge, the Hodger on Twitter, Dave Hodge on Instagram. I'm all over the place because I never really thought about the marketing of it beforehand.
Okay, well that's where you find my man here, and of course Ming. We appreciate you being here. Of course, Ming's always we love you,
always,
Ming.
gentlemen. Thank you for making me always laugh.
We always try.
Oh yeah.
My co-host once again is not here. Once again, please keep him, his mother, in your in your thoughts and prayers, that they come out okay. And just appreciate everyone listening. It's a great podcast that we love here, Comics on Cannabis. It is where we do talk about, sports, movies, anything pop culture. We do feel this is where entertainment and cannabis meet. If you want to continue to hang out with us, please do so at my website at comicsoncannabis.com. And, of course, follow us at Comics on Cannabis on Instagram. But great show. Dave, I'm looking forward to hanging out with you again.
Definitely.
Doing amazing stuff. And from that point, guys, we are out.